Hey, what's going on? Miguel Lloyd, host of Life Full Circle Radio. Happy Monday. And man, it's been a pretty depressing week, to be honest with you, in the public space. We got a situation where the subway dancer got killed by a Marine, choked out. We had a situation in Atlanta where the former Coast Guard guy went and shot up, killed one woman and hurt about 4 others. And then we got Texas, where about 8 people were killed there. And once again, we getting a bunch of prayers and with our officials. So there's that. So we're gonna jump right into this thing. We do have some other stuff we're gonna talk about. We got the Brat tat. She's showing off her belly, and Chris Brown and Usher getting into a fight in Vegas, and some other stuff that's jumping off. But that's what we're gonna start off with today. All right. Before we get into that, you playing double dutch? What's up? You just bounced
It
on
kicked me out. Like, it literally just kicked me out of nowhere, and now I'm on the wrong camera.
Oh, okay.
This isn't my professional camera. This is my laptop camera that's coming through. Why this is happening, I do not know. So
okay, you should have a choice which one to choose. But anyway, we'll figure that out. What's going on, Super Producer? We got a lot going on this week. We got a list that, of course, our great intern put together. Everything under the sun, and then we had to prune it down and get it where we wanted to get it. But one thing we want to talk about at the top, as you mentioned, we're gonna get into the shooting and all that stuff, because my God, it's exhausting.
Yeah, we can't start with the shootings. I know normally we try to lead with serious news, but when there's multiple shootings and violent images, and let's not forget the guy who ran over the migrant workers with his car yesterday morning. It's too much stuff going on, so we got to start with the semi-stupid.
And what we're gonna start off? We're gonna start off with this situation. Ebony K Williams. Ebony K Williams is she's a host.
Oh.
Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. Ebony K Williams, I guess she's been on reality TV before. I don't keep up with the reality TV stars, but she's been on the
She was on the Real Housewives of New York. So she's I'll tell people who Ebony K Williams is. She is a lawyer by trade.
Okay.
And then she got invited to be on the Real Housewives of New York. And that was kind of a really bad season because there was a lot of racism with Ebony came on. And Ebony came in a little hot with the, Black Power fist going and everything.
Okay.
She then went on State of the Culture with Joe Budden. That didn't last very long. And now she's on The Griot. So she's kind of translated her law career.
She was on Revolt for a minute, too. That's where I saw her first on Revolt.
She was on Revolt. She also was on Fox News. Before she went to Real Housewives of New York, she was on Fox News. Now, she didn't get a lot of play from Fox News. It wasn't a great platform for her, but she's kind of bounced around. So now we can go into what's happened lately.
Got you. So that's not what we're talking about today. The reason why we're talking about her today is that she had a conversation, I think it was on The Grill, with Iyanla Vanzant. And even though Sister Girl is retired, she knows how to pull the best and the worst out of
Y'all stop falling for Iyanla. Iyanla be getting y'all every time because y'all think y'all having a good old conversation with Auntie. Then she asks you something and you answer honestly, and now everybody hates your guts.
Iyanla just has a way of asking you questions and sitting back and watching. Let's watch you fail in this moment. So Ebony, we're gonna play the video, the portion. And I think this is going to be her response. So we're not playing what she originally said, which was when Iyanla asked her if she would date a bus driver, she said only if he owned the bus. And, here's the thing. I kind of get the spirit of where she was trying to go with that.
Yes.
I get it. But you came off super arrogant. And here's her response.
To refresh you, here's the but they're not truly in love and happy. And if she didn't say enough the first time, Ebony came around the second time on her show to clarify her comments.
So let me be clear. First, I am a professional disruptor. So backlash is my business. And I will always take it on the chin for the sake of advancing the work, conversation, or movement. So know that I am completely unfazed by the onslaught of nasty comments, wishing me a sad, lonely, bitter existence until my untimely death. Now, that is some weird energy to be wishing onto a black woman, especially one who has dedicated her life to the liberation of black folk. But, whatever. I guess go off.
Ebony, interracial dating is not the liberation of black folk. Just stop it.
So I'm standing 10 toes down on that position, and I don't really care if you're hurt or offended by it. And since some of y'all are already big mad, let me go ahead and make you incensed. So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said.
Ebony, you're not pouring nothing but a tall glass of misandry. But
So that's what is that? Pink? Well, you sent me that link. Pink.
So Pink Book Lessons is a show that is straight up dedicated to kind of holding black women accountable and holding up black men. And I'm fine with it. I listen to Pink Book Lessons on a regular basis because I like hearing the other opinion. If you would have gone fast forward in the video, they went into her whole interview with DJ Envy, and it gets contentious. Contentious is actually a nice word.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it gets very contentious. I've seen part of it.
Contentious is the nice word to call it. Envy is basically saying you were calling people who were beneath you mediocre. And she's, every time he tries to say something, she jumps back and he's trying to, it just got really nasty. And here's a problem that I have with Eboni K Williams. She does not know her branding at all. She doesn't know where she fits. And she never has known where she fits when you even read her Wikipedia page. She's worked at Fox News. We all know that's not a big platform for African Americans. It's not Fox News. That's coming from Republican guys. She had a radio show for a very short period of time. She was on State of the Culture. I think she might still be on State of the Culture. I think
What
she's
State
on,
of the Culture? Is that on Griot?
No, that's on Revolt with Joe Budden. Revolt owns State of the Culture. So she's doing that right now. She was on The Real Housewives of New York, and she came on very Black-centric. She has been in one serious relationship, and that was with a white Jewish man who left her during the pandemic because he wanted to quarantine with her kids. And she asked the world's dumbest question to that man of, well, why didn't you put me first? I'm not sure why she thought that a man would put her over his kids if you're not married, but whatever. I say all this to say, she's hopping from foot to foot about her opinion about what she said instead of standing in it. Yeah. And she's wondering why people are just like, girl, what are you talking about? Because after hearing that explanation, does that make any sense to what she said the first time? Any correlation?
No, she, here's the thing. And women, Black sisters got to stop weaponizing being a Black woman.
I agree.
And because as soon as you start that diatribe, everybody, their heads go back in their necks like turtles because we're like, okay, you're not going to win this conversation, period. And, she put it to, you can't attack a Black woman like that. Well, you just attacked working class Black men. We've talked about this on this show before. We're not in the industrial age. People are not winning just by the labors of their physical hands, right? And so when you get to the point where it's about intellect, all bets are off. Whoever's the smartest, the strongest, the hardest worker can succeed. But at the same time, you have to honor the fact and respect the fact that a lot of Black men as a culture have been handicapped in a lot of ways. When you talk about through the 80s and 90s, you have a lot of brothers who, if they spent 2 years or 10 years in prison, they are behind the 8 ball. And so there's a whole rack of Black brothers out there who are behind the 8 ball.
Well, let's take it a tiny step back, because number one, and I think you and I agreed about this in production, Iyanla set her up for failure. I mean,
she a grown woman. She got to be able to handle that. Yeah, I mean, you are the journalist. This is your show. Iyanla Van Zandt came on, and if you can't handle the fact that Iyanla Van Zandt is going to put you in the spin cycle, that's your fault. But my point is that I know plenty of people who are doing very well who, let's just say he started as a bus driver and became the owner of the bus company. Let's say he started as a truck driver, then he went into an independency and got his own truck, and then he got 5 trucks. And these people are wealthy. They're doing very well. But she didn't allow that to even exist in that conversation, and that's where the issue is. What you're talking about forward advancement and wanting to make sure that the black woman, you can't talk to her like that, and man, stop with that, man. It's like
I didn't like any of that. I thought that whole thing. And then she said, "Yes, I called having being a bus driver or being whatever mediocre, but mediocre just means average." Miguel, you and I both know if we walked into a random person, looked at them and said, "You're mediocre," they'd be ready to fight us.
Absolutely. It's an absolute
We know
insult.
what mediocre
It's
means.
an insult. And you're a
it's an
journalist
insult.
and you're an attorney, so you should have a better command of the English language than that. That's an excuse. That's a
She
complete
says we
excuse.
don't. In her interview with Envy, she actually said, "You guys really should pick up a dictionary to know what the word average or mediocre means." It made me want to say, "Bitch, we know what the word average and mediocre is." And if we went up to anybody and said, "You're average, you're mediocre,
right?
You're mediocre," even if we take the
Right.
black woman twang around
Because that's insulting. For you to say someone you need to go get a dictionary means that, okay, you don't understand how to read the room and you don't understand context. Both of those words are in the dictionary as well. And so when it comes down to the fact that if you say somebody's mediocre or average, it is an insult. And so if you intended on insulting twice over, because I watched DJ Envy in the interview, a proud Hampton grad, and he's trying to have a conversation with her, and she wants to cut him off and want to act like Envy doesn't know what he's talking about.
And then she got condescending. She
Right.
got okay, I'll let you go. Oh, okay, I'll let you have that.
Mhm.
That's Ebony. You have a huge issue right now. You're trying to prove that black women are here to date and we want to date and we need to be accepted and warm and blah 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 blah. But you just sat on a national platform and had the nastiest attitude I've
Right.
ever seen from here to Timbuktu. You
Right.
were rude.
Right. And that's the part that is going to, well, let's see. Well, here's what we do have. She's got a platform now. A lot of us didn't know who she was. Now we do. I don't know if she felt like she succeeded, and we talk about this all the time on the show. Some people think that social media, if you got attention, all attention is good attention, and so she got attention.
But who's her market? Well, you and I are both in advertising and marketing. Who is Ebony K Williams' market right now after what she just did?
Oh, there's plenty
Who's
of
her
sisters
market?
out. Well, there's plenty of sisters out there who agree. Oh, let's not act like it's not women out there who agree with what she said.
I'm sorry for my raised eyebrows. I guess I'm just surprised. Not so much she said about, not dating a bus driver. I can rock with that. You're a lawyer. You dating a bus driver, it would be weird. I get it.
Mhm.
But her flip-flopping part is a part as a black woman. I'm like, see, now I can't rock with you because you are changing the conversation and now turning into a civil rights activist practically because I want to be better. I want black women to be better. Black women are the most educated and black men this, and that wasn't what any of Ayanna was talking about.
And here's the
at all.
thing. And here's the thing. If black men don't sound like that's your market anyway, sis. So go do you. You know what I mean? If you want to go chase after some coins, and then you got the Jewish guy who said, and you want him to pick you over his family, you learn real quick. That ain't gonna
That'll
happen.
never happen. When she said that story, I was like, even if that was a black man, that wouldn't happen. Black, green, blue, Guyanese, Chinese, no man is going to be like, during quarantine,
Right.
I'm going to leave you, my fiance. I'm going to stay with you, my fiance, instead of staying
leave
with
my
my
kids.
children and my kids.
If there was ever a situation where, me having a blended family, if there was ever a situation where my daughter was not accepted and my mate did not understand the importance, then yeah, I'm done. There's nothing really for us to talk about, right? Because when it's all said and done, I'm not going to get into this fight throughout my entire life of trying to pick between my wife and my children, and especially a child that, yes, this is not your child, but she is your child. Once you decide you want to say I do to me, then all of a sudden we're a family. But, Ebony K Williams, you asked what her market is. There's plenty of sisters out here who think like that. It's a prevalent conversation right now around, I don't need no man, and these black men this and these black men that. And then in the same side of their mouth, they're talking about why he always want to take, so it's like the men who may not have the level of income or the level of ability, you don't want to date him. But in the ones who got the income and all the women are flocking to them, the fact that they got choices, you mad about that. So make up your mind.
Ebony, you're gonna be single for a while after your performance. Your first performance with Yanla, whatever, fine. The recent performance with DJ Envy, your stock for a man went down from maybe 150 down to 0. And to the black women, and I hope you make this a short, Miguel. For the black women out there, I am a black woman who married a man who wasn't making some crazy amount of money. My husband was working in retail when I met him, but he had a lot of other qualities that I was like, this is how you make a marriage and a relationship. 2 years into our relationship, this man went from retail to getting the GM position at that store. Then he got a GM position at a bigger store.
Right.
So now we're making more money, and we're making more money together. So just saying.
But so you actually have a plan, and you decided to make that decision based on love and not what somebody has. Right.
Yes.
And so what happens is that when you got people work together and then all of a sudden they start to work things and they ain't got to stress about love, and they got a partner at the crib, then they can go get that grind on. The next thing you know, the sky's the limit, right? You know, this materialistic world that we live in right now, man, it has so many holes in it. For all you ladies out there, this is what you're looking for. Because a lot of them brothers making all their bread, they don't want you because they know what you're about. Period. Point blank. All right, let's move on. Let's seeing how we're in the relationship business right now. I think I want to move over to this Brian McKnight story, which has also been trending a lot here recently, because you know we done talked about the women who ain't about nothing. Brian McKnight is wilding. That dude.
I would rather Hitler. I would rather, if a guy said, "Who you want to be your daddy, Hitler or Brian McKnight?" I'd be like, "Bring on Hitler."
We ain't going that far. But
he's an awful.
Yeah, Brian McKnight. So to give us the backstory on this Brian McKnight, this is the same dude who's been singing love songs since the 90s, and everybody thought he was just Mr. Yeah.
I will give you the background story to the Brian McKnight situation, but I also want to clear up. I've listened to a lot of different stories about this, and people are getting some huge facts wrong. He only has 3 children. Don't ask me their names right now. I can't think of it. But it's 2 boys and a girl. Brianna, Brian, and Nico. Those are his 3 children. 2 with his ex-wife, Julie, who is a singer. And one of them, Brianna, is actually the result of an affair. He does not have a child named Clyde. Clyde is his brother. Clyde McKnight is Brian McKnight's brother. So what happened is that Brian McKnight left Julie. In 2015, he met a new woman. And she's Polynesian, from Hawaii. They have a blended family now. They have suffered a miscarriage, and then they had a new son who he's named Brian McKnight Jr. He also has a son named Brian McKnight Jr. Whatever. Everybody knows the George Foreman thing where he named all his sons George. Whatever, fine. The issue is the fact that Brian McKnight has been making, honestly, very mean posts towards his children subliminally. So his daughter had a birthday, his stepdaughter had a birthday, and he wrote this glowing post about how he's so proud of her and how he's so proud that he made her a girl dad, even though he has another daughter. You know, how, it just makes him open up for love again. Same thing with his wife. And now his son, Brian McKnight Jr., you're the heir to the throne, even though he has another son, 2 sons, one named Brian McKnight Jr. And it's just very mean that he's just kicked his kids to the side for this new family. He also made a comment about how all of his songs before he met his wife, I just knew how to write words and put words together. Words are cool, they rhyme, blah, blah, blah. And that's all his songs were. They were never about anything. Blah, blah, blah. That's what it sounded like. And he's only ever loved Julie. He's only ever loved his new wife. The ex-wife, who cares? Whatever. It didn't mean anything. Once again, Brian, you have no new albums coming out. You are on the affordable old school tour. And now no promoter is going to put you on their affordable old school tour. If Brian McKnight came to Atlanta right now, after what you know, would you be like, "Oh, Tracy, let's go see Brian McKnight"? You'd be like, "Nah, I'm cool."
I've never seen Brian McKnight in concert. I have no desire, and it's not like it ain't like I don't like Brian McKnight. That's a whole different conversation about me and 90s R&B. It all sounds like 90s R&B to me.
What would that concert even be like? Is this him standing at a piano playing and singing? Because that seems like it would be boring after a while, wouldn't it?
For a Brian McKnight fan, I guess they like it. Brian McKnight's not a terrible. I can't really name outside of some song he did with. Anyway, Brian McKnight is. Here's a funny thing, Brian. I'm a huge Take 6 fan. Brian McKnight's brother is in Take 6. I was like, when he first came out, I was like, oh man, Brian McKnight's brother gonna come out, another gospel artist. He came out straight love songs and all that. You know, I just, you know, Brian McKnight is so I remember years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, there was some issues with him and his son and some, you know, dude is, yeah, you know, like my man K Foy said, you know, he's a, you know, he's not a good dude. You know what I mean? He kind of sucks as a person. You
And
know?
that's the problem. Kelvin is right. When you find out someone sucks, so it's one thing to be
Yeah.
like, oh, you know, he's kind of weird, or I don't like
Yeah.
that, or oh, you're a
Yeah.
Republican, it's weird. But to find out somebody sucks as a human, like you have decided that your own kids are so awful that I'm
Oh
just gonna like
man.
subliminally diss them on social media and act like they don't exist. Then he had the nerve to post his defense the other day where it was, I guess you guys forgot about these posts with me and my kids. You mean these posts from when Instagram first started, when it was that old blue and white color back from 368 weeks ago? How many years is 368 weeks?
I have no idea. I'm not that good at math.
Neither am I. And everybody was like, sir, this
7
is
years?
years ago. This is years ago, and
You
you're
know,
acting like this is a new thing.
that's why I keep telling people everything does not need to be on social media, man. You coming out here, you got grown children, you're married, you're remarried, you got a new family that you've taken on. Okay, be quiet about it, live your life. You don't have to go out and
Live
have
your
these
life.
subliminal messages and these clapbacks to your kids and all this type of stuff. 50 Cent's
Who
good
does
for it
that?
too. Yeah, it's just celebrities who want to use social media to stay relevant. Celebrities who want to get off their affordable old man tour, like you said, and want to get on a big arena show. So they're trying to remain relevant. You're exactly right. There are shows that come to Atlanta and it'll be $49 for the whole show. Brian McKnight, Shantae Moore.
Hey,
And I'm like, I love them.
$49
They cool.
anywhere you want.
You can sit anywhere you want. You can bring your own food in your aluminum foil, bring your own wine, the whole nine. Yes, sir. There's those shows getting ready. It is that season in the A. They're gonna be all over town if you want to go to a cheap show.
You're right. It'd be the same people. It'd be
Silk. Silk.
dang. It'd
True.
be Silk, Shantae Moore, Cisco and them.
Cisco and them, because it's about 12 members of I don't know how the world Drew Hill got to
Kelly
be 12
Price.
members. Kelly
Price.
Price, you know,
Selena
Fantasia.
Powell.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, we joking, you know, these cats, they're still great performers, but, you know, they don't deserve all that smoke. Brian McKnight deserves all this smoke. He's trash.
He
And
does.
for you
And
treating
one
your
last
family
thing-
like that, you know, you got to deal with the consequences.
And here's a point of no return for me. Let's say he just doesn't like his son because his son's trying to steal money, or his son is, you know, ruin the family name because he can't sing. He out here doing songs. What
Why
he
you
did
ruin the
to his
family because
daughter
you can't sing? If you can't sing, you can't sing. Oh, well, you can't sing. All right, so what?
What he did to his daughter Brianna, I feel, is a point of no return. Brianna, he accused Brianna of having an incestuous relationship. I actually went on an interview, because I went and listened to the interview, said his daughter was promiscuous and incestuous. He said this out loud in an interview. And his daughter was like, what? And she decided to sue him for defamation. And she went
He
through
needs
all the
to.
steps to sue him.
He needs to.
Exactly. And we know proving
Like, you got a
defamation is very hard
promiscuous
to do.
child,
She
you
was
don't put
ready
that
to
in the
do it.
streets. Like, y'all handle that stuff at the house. You don't sit up there and
At the
put that stuff
house.
in the internet streets. That's not where it's for. Calvin got me over here. I'm trying to stay serious. And
And she
Calvin,
was
yes,
13 years old at the time. She was 13.
we all went to the New Edition show and saw that Aaron Hall he ain't got one run left in him. He is done. He can't sing a lick.
Is Aaron Hall gay?
No, Aaron Hall is almost R. Kelly. That's a whole nother story.
Now
You
I gotta Google it.
You look
Who
up
is
some
Aaron
videos
Hall?
of Aaron Hall hanging out with Bishop Don Juan and some of the pimps, and he gets to talking. Aaron Hall is a mess.
But what
So
is he
anyway,
saying?
what does he sing? Aaron Hall was the
Oh.
lead singer of Guy. God, you're so young.
Oh, Groove Me. Got it.
Oh, Groove Me. Oh, Groove Me. And I like. Yes, Groove Me. I like. One of the greatest bands of the 90s who he disappeared for a
Wait,
while.
wait, wait. I know you can have a piece of my love.
Waiting
Lord,
for you.
Tell me that's not the words.
Yo, but here's the thing, and for those who never listen, I want y'all at the end of Piece of My Love, at the end of it, as it's starting to fade out, he's in there talking about, dumb bitch. He say that at the end of Aaron Hall. Yeah, Aaron Hall is trash. He really is. He really is. You listen to
can
the
say that
end
in a
of
song?
at the end of the song as it's fading out. It's just like because the song itself, if you listen to the lyrics of A Piece of My Love, it is absolutely just basically a woman. He just disrespecting that woman through that whole song. Anyway, all right, you got me out here, talking about R&B.
I'm listening to it when I get home. Anyway, yeah, Brian McKnight, your career is never going to recover from this. So I hope you enjoy your new wife when she leaves you and takes the little money you have left, because she's going to leave you. That's always how this works. You find the new woman, she's white or some kind of racially ambiguous race or whatever. You're falling in love. Everything's so happy and cute. Then she leaves you. And then she takes the last little coins that you have, and now you're going to try to run back to black folk. Well, Negro, we don't want you. Take your butt back over to Hawaii and Kalukalaka Clan and all the way over there. Don't bring it back to the States. Next topic.
All right, so next topic. We're gonna get into this because I'm really not in the mood yet to talk about all this negative stuff that's going on right now. I'm just not in the mood yet. All right,
That's
all right, ad, go away.
We're going straight to Sperm.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Sperm. All right, so this this ad is in the way, but for those who don't know, which once again, why do we need to know this? The Brat and Jessica Judy Harris depart. She's got she's got a funny name, whatever. Kaleidoscope is her business. She's very successful.
Big Booty Judy.
Is that her name, Big Booty Judy? I think it is. It's something like that.
Big Booty Judy.
But she's an extremely successful businesswoman.
Yes.
They are married.
Yes.
There's a picture circulating of her performing in Vegas with the Bulls outfit on. Her belly is out. But they let us know that they decided to pick a white man as the sperm donor because the only choices they had in black men as sperm donors, one of them looked like, was just, he
Jiminy
said some
Cricket.
term. I don't know what, Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy
There you
Cricket.
go.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So let me tell you guys, I have multiple friends who use donors because, they're either at a certain point in their life where, they don't have a partner, but the clock literally is ticking and they don't have a lot of time. And the Brat and Judy said that there weren't a lot of black donors out there. Well, let me tell you guys, there's not. I've seen what my friends have gone through because when you are using fertility treatments, I'm someone who's used fertility treatments before, you go through a ton of testing. And if you plan on using sperm like they did, you have to do testing on both sides. So when you do testing on both sides, that narrowed down your funnel. And it only leaves a small group of people.
What are they testing for? What are they testing for? You say
everything.
Testing.
Especially because of the Brat's age, with her getting pregnant or wanting to get pregnant, they're testing for chromosome issues. They're testing for sickle cell, because that is very big in the black community. They're testing for all major diseases or chromosome issues to make sure the baby will be as healthy as possible. That's just what they do.
And so,
go
ahead.
Then once you narrow that bubble down, they probably wanted a donor that didn't want to have any involvement after the child was born. Because when you go on those sites, apparently the donor can say, like, no, I don't want to have any involvement, or the child can contact me after like 18, or I would like to have full involvement. So let's say of those 40 guys, 30 of them decided that we do want to have contact, and the Brat and Judy don't want that. Now you're narrowing it down even further. So it leaves maybe, and then again, and also a lot of people of color don't donate sperm.
Well, that's what ding. Go ahead. Finish
How
your thought.
many black men do you know, including your friend who is polyamorous, because I feel like he would do it, have donated sperm?
You're going to leave my LB alone. I don't, that is
He
never.
seems like somebody who would support that.
That is not something, I've never had that conversation with my boys. Like, are you a sperm donor? I just never had that conversation. So to me, ultimately, if there's a bunch of sisters out here who may be seeking, who are in that market, that sounds like a marketing problem. You're going to sit up here and tell me, because I know they're getting paid to donate their sperm, right? I'm assuming.
No, you don't get paid that much to donate sperm. You get a lot to
Not
donate
that
your
much.
egg.
They do get paid.
No, they do get paid. They get paid like $100 a donation. But if you were an egg donor, like a black female egg donor, you make in the thousands.
See what I'm talking about? See how y'all devalue the black man? See how y'all devalue the black man? See right there. If y'all would put more paper out there for the black man, then maybe he give you some of the juice.
Cookie and JJ from up the road, like, hey y'all, they giving $1,000 to go donate sperm.
Hey,
y'all, I'm about to go.
Hey,
Nobody wants your weed and Hennessy sperm.
You better want that linebacker or that basketball player or that rapper. No, all jokes aside. Once again, why do we know this? Why are you telling everybody this? No one should know that you decided as two black women, I'm not going to donate. I don't want no black man sperm. That's the story that everybody's going. Everything you just said was so logical. It makes so much sense.
Post this comment. Post it right
God,
now.
Lord have mercy. Daggone Andre Science. All sperms matter.
Okay. The other part that's funny to this is everybody in the comments kept saying, why don't you guys ask, one of your many celebrity friends to be the donor? That means that's that child's father now. If it's somebody that they know and the man knows, that's that child's father. That's not a donation anymore if he lives up the road. Or if I see him on a regular basis. That's
right. Here's the thing. I get it, man. I get it. Maybe they need to have a little private little group of all their celebrity friends. Like the Brat talks to celebrities for a living. Like she's talking to, find yourself one of the backup dancers. Y'all need to go find your whole, market that to the backup dancer community and say you have some man, this is, to me, first of all, why do we know this?
Okay, we know
why is this our business?
Because it's filmed for their reality show. Brat Loves Judy is filming. Brat Loves Judy is on WeTV, and it's filming their journey together. That's why we know this. But
you can film that journey, and if they say, "What is the sex and the race of the sperm?" you say, "I'm not telling you that," and move on. Because as two black women, that is going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. So maybe they come out. Because here's the thing. But Big Booty Judy is what you say her name is?
That's her name.
Okay. She's fair skinned. So if the baby comes out light skinned, no one's going to, well, no, that doesn't work.
And if the baby come out looking like it belongs to Harry.
First of all, Lisa Ray, who's the Brat's sister, and the Brat is fairly fair skinned, and Lisa Ray is no one would have questioned that baby if that baby came out light skinned. It's not our business. I'm just so tired of celebrities putting all their business in the streets. It's ridiculous.
And then when the baby comes out looking like Lionel Richie, then everybody's going to be confused about that. For example, you see the twins? The twins have a Guyanese father and a black mother, and they look mostly Indian. They look mostly Guyanese. And I'm like, that's just, sometimes babies play you before they even come out.
But the point is that we didn't have to know this. And so now you're out here, there's going to be questioned all the time. The Brat-a-tat-tat, who we didn't know for the last 30 years, who we didn't felt is one of the most ghetto sisters from Chicago. She said, I don't want no black man as my baby daddy neither. So even though I'm... Jesus, Lord have mercy.
And a lot of people are also making the comment, well, the Brat's kind of the male dominant of the relationship. Why is she carrying the baby? Apparently, Judy had multiple miscarriages when they were trying to go through this process. And that's why the Brat is now out here on stages in her baggy basketball shorts and a jersey with a hole in it to prove that she is carrying a baby, but she also got them wraps. I didn't like that outfit. Did you like that? I thought it was unnecessary. Somebody
it
who
looked
was
like
pregnant,
it looked like she was from Chicago. She looked like she was from the Midwest. That's what they do. They love the whole Michael Jordan outfit from head to toe. I'm not biting at that bait with the Brat up there in some high tops and a basketball jersey with her belly out. I'm not biting at that. Nope. I'm letting it go. I'm gonna let that lay. I'm gonna let that drop right where it dropped. All right. So let's get this nonsense this off the. Let's talk about this nonsense. Okay, so we've had two more shootings this week, and you also talked about somebody running over. I missed that. Somebody running over somebody in Texas. I think you said that happened this week.
Yeah,
too.
Let me pull that story up since now we're on the sad part of the show. Apparently, we're just stick with us, guys, for this
just for a couple of minutes because this happened early in the week last week. And, we live here in Atlanta. Midtown is pretty much where everybody is now, more than downtown Atlanta. Midtown Atlanta is really the most populated area of town. And to hear this during the course, my daughter is living down there now, Midtown now. Mm-hmm. And to hear that this was going on down there and they couldn't find the guy. But one thing they can say about the different license plate cameras and stuff, all y'all complaining about these cameras all over town, first of all, slow down. And I had it, and I'm full disclosure, I had to write a check last week. Because these cameras, you may not see them cops, but them little itty bitty little cameras are everywhere around town, especially in cities like Atlanta. And that's how they found this guy. They followed him all the way, I believe, up into Cobb County, which for people who are not familiar with Atlanta, not far actually from the baseball stadium where the Braves play now. And so a lot of people in Atlanta said, that ain't really Atlanta. It's still Atlanta. It's all Atlanta
Still
proper.
Atlanta.
It's in Cobb County. But, you know, mental health, man. This is a guy, he's former Coast Guard guardsman, I think is what they're called. And then you had a situation in Texas, another situation where, you know, this guy is he was a former, I believe he was Army in Texas, Mauricio Garcia. And they said he planned it for weeks. Like he was posting on these right-wing sites when he was going to do it, when the mall was most populated so that he can do the most damage.
And by the way, Mauricio Garcia is not like a white guy who changed his name. He is a Hispanic descent gentleman who did this.
Yes.
He is.
Yes. And he was racist. It was like he was still talking about, you know, hatred of minorities. I'm like, what? You're a minority in Texas. Like, you know.
Yeah. And then the most recent story to stay in Texas, authorities in Brownsville, Texas say that they got a call around 8:30 a.m. about a Land Rover that hit multiple people who were waiting at a bus stop across the street from the Bishop Enrique San Pedro Osaman Center, a nonprofit homeless shelter that has been helping house migrants. Authorities say it's unclear whether the crash was intentional. 7 people were found dead on the scene. So I watched the video because I was confused how this worked or how this was. The people would leave the migrant center to get on the bus to go work in literally the fields that Americans don't want to do. They went to go work. The guy sped around another car, hopped the car curb, and mowed these people down. Like, it was very jarring to see that he was stopped. They caught him. He's arrested, thank goodness. But it was just, I don't know what's going on with people.
You know, there's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of this. You know, Q-Tip posted this, the rapper Q-Tip, there's been more mass shootings, 200 in days of the year, 128 so far. And he posted this today. You know, people are insane. And it's like, people are just minding their business, man. These immigrants are trying to work, right? You got people in the shopping mall just trying to live their lives and not be all holed up in their homes and trying to enjoy themselves. And you got nut jobs, man, that are out here just finding things to randomly do, and then you just got got largely Republicans, and their answer to it, their response to it is, hey, doesn't matter. You take, well, what is it going to do? You know, the criminals will always have guns. These people who are doing this are not who you guys would constitute as criminals until they become criminals. You got 2 veterans, right?
Veterans.
You got 2 people that you guys always want to scream about protecting our veterans and serving our veterans. These ain't dope boys on the block. You know, dope boys on the block or these little black people that y'all can't stand or Hispanic people in LA in the gangs that are running around here mowing people down or going to malls. They're in conflict with each other. These type of people are finding soft targets. It's churches, it's schools, it's malls, it's places where people cannot defend themselves because they're not there to defend themselves. They're not the life that they live. And so now the answer every time is, well, we need to work on mental health. Yeah, we do. And we need to get these assault weapon bans out there to try to get some of these guns off the street. It's just ridiculous.
It's the guns at this point. It is the guns. It's not, we got to get a good guy with a gun. Mauricio Garcia would have been considered a good guy with a gun, right? Technically.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, maybe not the other guy who shut up the hospital because he was mentally ill, you know, and he was dealing with mental issues. He was living with his mother. He was trying to get his medication. I'm not saying this justifies what he did by any means, but he was dealing with mental issues. Mauricio, can you really say he's dealing with mental issues when he's planned this for 2 weeks?
No,
when
that's
he's doing
premeditated.
Runs? That's premeditated murder.
That's premeditated. Yeah, that's a premeditated mass killing. You know, and
here's the funny thing. It's weird. Mm-hmm. When it's a mass shooting, it's mentally ill. But when it's a serial killer, they're just a horrible human being. So how does that work? Like, when it's like, what's the difference?
They're making this stuff as they go along. That's the difference. You know, when it's all said and done, that is what the difference is. You know, then you have the situation in New York. Now, this dude, Marine, once again goes back to the military. This time it's a Marine guy who decided to strangle a homeless man to death. And I'm trying to figure out how he was questioned and let go.
Apparently what was said is that he was kind of being threatening and aggressive, but other passengers said, yeah, he was being aggressive, but we didn't think he was going to hit us or hurt us. We just thought he was being annoying. He was just being annoying.
It's New York. There's homeless performers and people like that in New York and in major cities like DC, even here in Atlanta, where you just see some people and you look at them, you make sure they don't get too close, and you step and you keep going. But they're going to choke him out, and then another guy going to hold his arms down while he's choking him out. And the humanity or lack thereof that is in our community right now is rampant. It's just running rampant. It's just at this point where, you know, it's just crazy. And I, you know, I wasn't going to bring this up, but I, you know, today in my own neighborhood, in my own neighborhood, you know, a kid, you know, my kids are coming. One of my daughters is coming home from school, and some clown wants to expose himself to a bunch of teenage kids.
Not even teenagers.
I'm just like, yeah, my daughter's a preteen. And my daughter's, you know, her bus, and then the other middle schoolers getting off the bus, and they got to worry about, I'm looking at video with a dude riding down behind my daughter in his car, cussing at teenagers. And I'm sitting back like, I ain't gonna say it on this show, but
he was about to go to jail, y'all. And let's be real, he was about to go to jail. We was about to have a whole Life Full Circle Radio, let's get a pot together to get Miguel out of jail. And but I get the sentiment, especially when you're dealing with young people. We're always talking about the grooming from the LGBT and the trans and but we have a grown man who will expose himself to a group of children. That is what we should be talking about and fighting. And that's the kind of stuff that's happening nowadays. And it's very weird to me that people just don't care. There was a time when people cared, when people were like, ooh, I'm going to control my anger because I don't want this to get out there. I don't want my job to find out. I don't want my mama to find out. I'm just not going to do this. And now it's kind of like, oh, I don't care. I'm just going to do it. It's fine. You know, I blame Trump.
You're not lying. I'm saying it's not like and I'm not gonna blame it all on Trump because a lot of this was around prior to Trump, but he definitely has exasperated it. You know, there's no question about it.
You be racist behind closed doors. Like again, I bring up Marie Shooter. You could be racist behind closed doors. Never in a million years would you put it online. Would you share it with anybody? Because you knew if somebody found out about it, they're telling everybody. And now you have no prospects. Now it's like, well, I mean, maybe it's bad. Maybe what was the context of what he said? Like, what? What do you mean? It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know where that's coming from. Can you hear that? You can't. All right, good.
I can't.
All right. These pages.
Is it all the sad stories?
Yeah, we only got 15 minutes of the show. We still got to do How and What, and we still got to do our marketing mastery tip. All right.
Let's do How and What.
Let's do How and What.
It's so awesome.
All right, so these are these stories in the internet streets, and you kind of go like, what did that really? Yeah. And so the How and What story of this week is gonna be, we're gonna center this on Isaiah Washington. I know that was in our list.
Wait a minute, I got a better one. Y'all talking about building a skyscraper-sized statue of Martin Luther King in Atlanta? Huh?
So my man Isaac Hayes, he put that out. He used the AI technology to put that out there. That ain't what we're talking about right now. My man's got an idea.
This is fake, right?
It's just a rendering. It's a rendering. It ain't no government official. Nobody is talking about it. It's a rendering.
But why do we need this? Why do we need a giant look at this? Why, Lord?
Jesus,
he's pointing his finger to the sky.
It's a rendering. All right, so How and What story? My How and What story of the week is going to be about Isaiah Washington, only because only thing I've ever really cared about that I could think of that Isaiah Washington was in was Love Jones, and I would love to see, just like they did Best Man, what is going on with Love Jones with the characters outside of him. I need him just to stay retired, but he's one of your Republican buddies. Go ahead and let's talk about.
I hate this Negro. I hate this Negro. And let me tell you why I hate this Negro. Because, sir, you don't understand why people don't like you. It's like having that that family member who's always coming around and doing stuff and crazy. Like, well, I don't understand why everybody doesn't want to go hang out with me because you're annoying and we don't like you. Like, we love you because you're family, but go away. Right. He has now come out and said that there was rampant sex and drug abuse and hot tub parties all over Grey's Anatomy, and he knew if he would have attended that he would have lost his job because he's a black man. Well, what about saying the F word, Isaiah Washington? You said the F word was the real reason why you got fired.
Right. Don't put it on everything else. Yeah. That was your fault, dummy.
So you thought sex parties bad, F word good. Like, and by F word, guys, I mean the homophobic slur. He called one of the stars of the show at the time the homophobic slur, and he was immediately fired.
Yeah. All right. Other Hanwha story we have this week is the World Health Organization. COVID-19 is no longer a global health emergency. All right. If I told you so is not a story, because all the hoteps out here talking about the jab and all that, they are loving this, that they're coming out. And basically what they're saying is that COVID-19 is here to stay. The people who gonna get sick, they're gonna get sick, just like the flu, just like a cold, just like a lot of other things, and protect yourself accordingly. But what's your take? Go ahead.
I feel like this was a stupid headline. They could have, again, COVID-19 needs maybe a new marketing agency, but it's saying it's no longer a health emergency. You can't really say that. I don't think that's what you should say. I would have said something like, we've learned to deal with COVID-19. We've learned a better way to live our lives with COVID-19. But to say it's no longer
2023, COVID-19 first hit the scene in 2020, right? So it was 2020, March 2020. We were pretty much on lockdown for the better part of 2 years, I guess. So that goes into the spring of 2022. And so now we're right at about a year of back out in them streets. We saw this coming. This is no surprise.
Well, and a lot of people are saying, oh, the jab, it makes your heart stop or kills people, or some crazy crap people were saying. I don't care. But I do feel like a lot of people, whether they're making these comments or not, have gotten the vaccine, and that has lowered your rate of, not dying from it, which is great. But COVID still exists. It's still kind of
they're not saying it doesn't exist. Here's the thing.
Let me tell you why it's a health emergency. If you got on the plane right now and someone had a cold, you'd be like, ew, gross. That person got on a plane with a cold. If that person got on a plane and you found out they had COVID, now you're ready to fight. Like, oh, you got on this plane with COVID? Are you serious?
I never, I wore the mask when I had to wear the mask. I wear the mask. I respect people's boundaries. To this day, my eye doctor took Michelle to get her eyes checked. My eyes checked last week, and they are still checking temperature, and they still ask you to put on the mask. And I'm like, no problem. And it's not hurting my feelings. I'm saying I'm gonna have it on for a short minute.
I live in Florida. That's not happening here. We live in Florida.
See, y'all, because anyway, don't get me started on Florida. So it is what it is. But I always felt and God bless, I got a wooden desk. Knock on wood. I've never had COVID. And I think that everybody in this house has had COVID. I've never had COVID. Everybody who never touched this house and stayed here for 2-3 days at a time has had COVID. I've never had COVID. God bless me. But I just think it has a lot to do with a lot of lifestyle wise, like now I'm not the skinniest dude in the world. I could lose 20, 30 pounds, but I'm not extremely overweight. I smoke occasional cigar once a month. I don't drink a lot, so, my biggest vice is I eat too much fried food. That's about it. Yeah. Too many French fries, too many Chick-fil-A nuggets. So
you won't eat pork, but if you deep fry a plate, he'll chew on it for a while.
Right. Yeah. No. And haven't ate pork in over 30 years. So I'm thinking a lot of times it was lifestyle driven. Young people say, well, young people are dying. But did they vape? Did they smoke a whole lot of weed? Are they out there smoking fentanyl and a whole bunch of crazy enough that drugs is in the streets right now? I don't know. Some pre-existing conditions were driving that. So.
But I still think the vaccine and boosters are important because, again, I had it and Omar had it. Omar was completely immobile for 24 hours and then he was fine. Mm-hmm. I wasn't immobile, but I was extremely sick for about 12 hours and then we were fine. If we didn't have the jab, then what would have possibly happened to our health? So get your boosters, guys. They definitely
get your boosters. If that works for you, get it. Full disclosure, I don't do the flu vaccine. I just I feel like I try to live. I eat decent enough. I don't have a lot of vices, so I feel like that helps me keep me from getting sick. But, you know, is it a global health emergency? Are they going to let it shut down the world again? Unless we got pulsating bubbles floating off our head and it really gets, these people ain't shutting this world down again. They looking at it like,
No,
okay,
that was horrible. Yeah, I feel unless it's really bad, like we all turn into zombies.
right, right. Which the pulsing bubbles in your face and all the pus, you know, they're not shutting down this world. All right, so before we get up out of here, we got one more segment. We're gonna be consistent with this because, because we actually got jobs. We actually know what we're doing.
Yeah, we have jobs.
Besides hanging out with y'all. So here is our marketing mastery tip. You ain't send me your logo. You supposed to send it last week.
I was. I'll send it.
Send me your logo. All right, so marketing mastery tip of the week. So this week, I got a call, Wednesday. The founder of OpenAI is going to be at Clark Atlanta, and you're invited. I said, yeah, right. Okay. The founder? Really? And then I got another email from another organization like, Miguel, you going to come check out the founder of OpenAI? Like, you mean like the real OpenAI, not like the bootleg, not like the real founder of OpenAI.
Right there with the glasses, right?
Yeah. So I want to play a little bit of a clip. This is, he came because of a relationship he has with John O'Brien, who, for people who may not know, John O'Brien is one of the major players that a lot of people do not know who he is, and who does a great job. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, he's about the bread. He's doing some amazing work. So he has a relationship with Sam Altman, and this is an interview that they conducted on, I think it was CNBC yesterday or sometime Friday, I think it was.
I have anxiety about near-term concerns with AI, which we talk about in our right before our face. But I also just can't help myself think years in advance, and not necessarily to the singularity, but when machines become really, really, really powerful, and we don't really understand at that point what might happen. And you've seen some of the end of humanity type fears that have been expressed by some pretty smart people. Could we build in a safeguard to make sure 20, 30, 40 years from now that humans aren't completely superfluous to machines? Is that something that you've thought about? I mean, I've read some science fiction. Is it impossible?
I mean, the reason that we started this effort is because of these questions. I think getting this right, figuring out the new society that we want to build, how we're going to integrate this technology is, I think, one of the most important questions of our time. And I'm very happy to be here with John starting this tour because figuring out how we want to build this for people that are not just sort of the people in the Bay Area, figuring out what people want this new world to look like, how the technology should work, how we should set the rules around it, how we want to use it, how we do the thing that works for the people of the world as a whole. Figuring that out now is really important. We can decide anything we want. We collectively, society, not we OpenAI. There will be regulation. There will be many different versions of this that work, and we will have in the coming years a very rigorous discussion about how we're going to integrate this technology into our lives. And we can build in all sorts of safeguards. We can build in all sorts of rules. But if we don't have this discussion with a very broad group of people, we will build something that a small slice of humanity wants rather than what humanity as a whole wants.
Hey,
John,
Andrew.
Yes, go ahead.
I was about to say that, look, you mentioned a name that's been, observant of what Sam's doing. I think if they were doing it themselves, they would probably trust themselves to do it now. And I trust Sam to do it now. I think there's a little competitive envy going on here, which is to be expected. Sam has something that a lot of tech leaders don't have. I say this very respectfully. He's got IQ and EQ. Some leaders have a blind spot called people. And we're not human doings, we're human beings, which is really what Joe was referring to. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Energy and people matter. And if we don't do this exactly right, we're not listening to the right people in the right ways, we will win the battle and lose the war. We do this right, and we push the whole, really, civilization forward. We have to bring everybody with us. I think that Sam's the only tech leader I'm aware of that went into the underserved community ever with a new technology like this, to listen and not just talk and say, help me make this better, almost like a moral bill of rights, which is what this is. We probably need that as much as we need regulation.
Right.
And I think that this community can help him do that.
You know, and here's some images. This was at Clark Atlanta University, my daughter's alma mater. These are members of the Atlanta Black Chambers. I was there with them. We're members of the 100 Black Men. We were there. There was members here in this picture. You got Martin Luther King III. That's in this picture. You have the president of Spelman. You have the president of Clark Atlanta. You have city officials right there in the cream suit. Is the superintendent of schools for Atlanta Public Schools, and so he was there and he was answering real questions. And you know, one of the things that was asked, and one thing was kind of annoying with me about the interviewer, is that he think this is the Terminator. This ain't the Terminator, man. This isn't a joke. The question was asked about whether or not can this AI, and this is what asked in the room, can this AI technology, can it be controlled? And he flat out said, there's going to be some really nefarious people who are going to get their hands on this technology, and we don't know how they're going to respond. All we can do is try to put the right mechanisms in place.
And that's what makes it Terminator. And that's what gives me Terminator vibes. Not because the creators are going to do something negative, but somebody in some part of the world is going to find a different application for it.
Right.
And now we're dealing with Skynet and trying to survive.
Well, until that happens, until Skynet takes over, many of us are making great use out of AI in marketing. And so, because it is
not from the programmatic side.
Well, talk to us about
so
when
on
you say
the
now.
Programmatic side, AdWords and Facebook have been slowly trying to roll out this kind of humanless, managing your ads. It doesn't work.
Right.
What AdWords is basically done is just saying, we're just going to let the program spend a lot of money to gain a lot of data, and we hope that it generates leads for you or generates sales for you.
Right.
And then there has to be somebody pulling the levers in a smart way with logic towards your campaign, because everybody's campaign goals are different. Same thing with Facebook. So I kind of feel like, from my perspective, for what I do, AI is never going to work, because you're always going to need someone to properly pull the levers. Now, from a Miguel standpoint of writing advertising copy, writing advertising scripts, it could be helpful, right?
No, it's been helpful now, but understanding that one of the reasons why he was in the room with a bunch of black folk, because he wanted to know from a black folk perspective, how can we make this product better? But here's the thing. When they ran down the jobs that were going to be going away, that are going to be having some real issues, we're okay, because it takes the creative energy. You still need to edit. You still need to understand people.
Well, what jobs will be going away, by the way?
Well, they were talking about like receptionist jobs and jobs that are more task driven. A lot of task driven jobs are
so like when they're trying to get the kiosks in like the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and stuff.
And that's already done.
Everybody hates using that.
But
Everybody hates.
No, and everybody doesn't hate using it, or they wouldn't do it. Because here's the thing, and they didn't do a big rollout on that. The McDonald's is in my community. I don't eat McDonald's except for the day I feel like trying to kill myself. But when I walked in there probably about 6 months ago, and I said, I just got to have a Big Mac today. I just want a Big Mac today, right? I walked in there and legit, it was screens. You place your order, and all the people in the back do is hand you your bag. And the other thing is, when you see the situation right now with the writers are striking right now in Hollywood. And 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the people, now I'm not going to compare fast food workers to Hollywood screenwriters, not even close. But this AI technology does expedite the process. When you give it an idea, and there are people who are writing books in days with AI.
Okay.
Now, if you are professionally a truck driver and you put prompts in the AI to say, write me a book, and you don't know how to scrub that and edit it, and because the work still needs to be edited. You're still going to need people to do. But for someone who is a professional in the space, it's like gas. It is. And so I say all that to say, in my industry, is it going to hurt a few people? It is, but I'm not concerned, because I know there's parts of what I do that is still, you are the secret sauce. If you are creative, I'm looking at the camera right now. If you are creative, you are the secret sauce. You need to make that, whatever it is you spitting in that AI to spit out, you need to make sure you personalize it and make sure that you understand what you're putting out there, because it's still a machine. It's still something that is learning as it goes. It's learning quickly because a lot of people are using it. But to your point about programming the right content, putting it in the right place, yeah, you should be in good shape, you know. But we better continue to find ways to make this work for us, because this AI is not stopping. And that's one thing that Altman said in the room with us. You know, people were talking about, they got it real nerdy. There was some real programming people that are building, and they're building businesses. They particularly want people to build businesses on top of AI. And there were probably 5 people in the room that said, since OpenAI came out, I've actually launched a business and I'm building a business on the backs of AI.
Well, the one thing I think OpenAI could come in very handy with, and I'm glad that people in the education in there, is helping out with education, giving teachers extra additional resources.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying get rid of teachers by any means, because if we have kids sitting in front of a robot telling them what to do, or in front of a program, that's not how learning works.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. But to have an extra resource for teachers, I think it would be fantastic. But the whole artificial intelligence thing is cool, but I feel like, again, there's a slippery slope that once we start walking towards it, then we're like a skier with the skis down that slope, and it's very.
We don't have a choice. That's the point that he was making. There's no stopping this. This isn't something that we have a choice on whether or not.
Why don't we have a choice? Why?
Because there's enough people in the marketplace. If there are people who are figuring out how to use AI to be a better programmatic advertising professional than you, Kia, eventually you're going to have to figure out how to make this tool work for you. When I looked at it and I said, okay, from an educational standpoint, you made a great point. I said, if I'm an educator and now I can't stop these kids from using OpenAI to help write papers, so now I'm going to challenge them. Okay, if you out there using OpenAI, instead of you writing a 10-page paper, I need you to write a 30-page paper. And I need to make sure that I want you to edit that content. And you see what I'm saying? You can almost expect, it's almost like when you went from having to add and subtract with a piece of paper to having a calculator, right? Of course, there's a higher level of expectation from you at that point, right? When you have the ability to Google almost anything, there's a high expectation of knowledge that you can expect from these kids. You know, at this point, here's the thing. You can either use it to serve you, or it's going to run right over you. And I'm not just saying you, I'm just saying in general, we got to figure out how to make this thing work for us. It is what it is. All right. Great show today. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate the comments in the joint. We're going to break this up. Make sure you guys follow us on all socials. We'll have these clips out there. Make sure you share it. Make sure you follow us. We're primarily on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even on Twitch. You can follow me, Brother Lloyd, on Twitch. And you can catch some of our content. Anything else you got before we go?
Nope. I'm going to bed.
Bye. Peace. Bye.